A man state police say set fire to 6 homes at another hearing in Jessamine County.
A Danville business is hit by vandals. We'll show you how the crime was captured on surveillance video.
Nearly $2,500 worth of landscaping has been stolen from a Lexington preschool.
This is WKYT News at 5:30.
Good evening to you. He is accused of breaking into several homes and setting them on fire. Today, a man charged with a string of arsons across central Kentucky was back in court.
State police say that 38-year-old John Roth and a 17-year-old broke into and set fire to 6 homes in Garrett, Jessamine, Scott, Madison, and Fayette counties. Some of the victims were in court today. Victor Puente talked to them in our top story at 5:30.
This preliminary hearing was over in just a few minutes. The attorneys here say this is just the beginning of the court appearances for John Roth. Roth is charged with receiving stolen property here in Jessamine County. State police say he sold jewelry taken from a home in Madison County that was set on fire last week. He could eventually face charges in 5 different counties for 6 different fires that damaged and destroyed homes in Jessamine, Fayette, Scott, Madison, and Garrett counties. A couple whose home was destroyed in Lexington came to today's hearing to see Roth.
It's a chilling feeling that somebody would do this and get some kind of satisfaction out of hurting people to that magnitude.
During the hearing, Roth's case was waived to a grand jury. Attorneys told the judge it's likely there will be more charges here in Jessamine County, where one of those homes was burned.
It was really scary. I mean, just to think that not only were we singled out, but that it was continuing to happen to other families.
If he's eventually charged for those fires, it wouldn't be the first time Roth has faced arson charges. When he was arrested, he was out on parole after being convicted of arson in Jefferson County.
That takes it up a different level. I mean, here's a person that was, as far as we understand, convicted, and he pled guilty to it, and then serves the absolute minimum amount of time that he could have served and is released early.
State police told us they would be presenting their evidence to the county attorneys in each of the counties where a home was set on fire. Attorneys today told the judge it's possible more people could be facing charges connected to the fire here in Jessamine County. In Jessamine County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
The 17-year-old has been charged with arson and burglary in connection with the Madison County fire. State police have not released any other information on his charges because he is a juvenile.
An attorney for a DUI suspect has asked the judge to transfer his client from jail to the hospital. Our county-by-county coverage at 5:30 begins in Rowan County. Today, Sabra McCarty was rolled into court on a gurney. She's charged with murder and wanton endangerment in connection with a deadly crash on May 1st on Kentucky 32. Police say she was driving under the influence and caused the crash. McCarty's attorney entered a not guilty plea on her behalf today. He also asked that she be transferred to the hospital because she has several broken bones. A judge could decide that at her next hearing on May 23rd. In Laurel County, a man faces charges after deputies say he crashed into a car wash overnight. The sheriff's office says 38-year-old Joseph Boswell ran his truck through the side of Ultimate Shine Car Wash on US 25. Deputies say Boswell admitted to taking the drug Roxaset. He's also accused of assaulting his mother before the crash. Boswell faces several charges, including DUI and assault.
Vandalism caught on tape. Police in Danville are asking for your help tracking down 3 people wanted for breaking into a restaurant. The 3 suspects can be seen on video breaking out windows of the Danville Bistro on Harding Street. New at 5:30, Phil Pendleton takes a closer look at the surveillance video.
Well, this is not the way that you would enter a business, but this is how you can now after someone broke out the glass of this door in addition to a bunch of other windows here in a crime that was caught on tape. Surveillance video shows a black or a dark colored 4-door car pull up and 3 people get out. They tried to pick up a tire flower planter, then they proceeded to kick or punch out the windows. A moment later, they run back toward their car as if spooked by something, but then 2 of them get back out again and kick the glass once more. Most of the windows were partially broken out, but the glass door was totally shattered. The owner says the crime happened just before 6 o'clock Sunday morning. While they didn't steal anything, they did cause a lot of damage. that'll be expensive to repair. Now, interestingly enough, Danville police are also working another case of some vehicle break-ins where the perpetrator appears to be driving a four-door black vehicle. It's not known if this crime and that crime are related. In Boyle County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Despite all the damage, Danville Bistro was open for their regular hours today.
Thousands of dollars worth of landscaping damaged. A Lexington preschool received a grant earlier this month to spruce up the outside of the school. But this weekend, someone ripped those plants right out of the ground. Mike Linden is talking to school leaders about the damage.
The Growing Together preschool just off of Georgetown Road has been a part of the Lexington community for 30 years. But for the first time this morning, the school was a crime scene.
It doesn't really make sense why anybody would take plants that are not even in the pots anymore.
On Derby Day, volunteers planted more than $2,500 worth of plants and landscaping in front of the school thanks to a grant from the city.
They were literally ripped out of the ground.
A little over a week later, most of it is gone.
I know that the kids are disappointed to look out their windows and see that everything that we'd planted out there for them is gone now.
We had a bush, it was identical to this one. So it was very beautiful, and now you see there's a giant hole.
Courtney McIntosh has worked at the school since March. She says her students noticed the missing plants almost immediately.
They actually noticed, and they're only 2. And they noticed a big transformation and a big difference from it being gone already.
McIntosh says not everything was stolen over the weekend. She says whoever took the flowers left quite a few behind, simply ripped them out of the ground and left them here on the school grounds. They also peeled the petals off of some of the flowers.
They stole this big fish here. You can still see the outline.
While school leaders doubt they'll be able to replace the stolen plants, they have no choice but to stay positive.
We really love this neighborhood. We want to continue being a part of it, and we want to continue making it look great and make it feel welcoming over here.
In Lexington, Mike Linden, WKYT.
Right now, Lexington police do not have any suspects in the theft. School leaders are asking the community for donations of spare flowers or shrubs to help replace the stolen plants.
A warning for anyone who has refinanced or looked to modify their home loans. We have the story of a company that offered assistance and ended up stealing from the victim in the case.
I got behind on my mortgage, and I said I couldn't catch up.
So Edward Harper decided to go online and look for companies to help him refinance or modify his loan. He found Fresh Start Financial Services, which offered lease-back programs.
Fresh Start was created, to support distressed homeowners.
Here's how it works. A homeowner sells his home to a service to eventually buy it back. In this case, Edward could get a reprieve from paying his mortgage and save some money. Fresh Start Financial gets a secure long-term investment before Edward buys the home back. That was the plan, but that didn't happen.
I got a letter from the bank, a bank I never dealt with in my life, stating that my mortgage is $1,200 a month.
As he's trying to figure out what happened, he got yet another surprise when he answered his doorbell.
Excuse me, I just bought this house. I said, what? I said, how will you buy my house? He said, I got it from sheriff's sale.
Turns out several employees from Fresh Start Financial were stealing from the company. They didn't make the mortgage payments on the home. Instead, took the equity in the home.
That equity is supposed to be put in an escrow account to pay his monthly mortgage payments, which that wasn't done. That equity basically was used for these criminals' lavish lifestyle.
He wasn't the only victim. 18 people lost $3.8 million in this scheme.
You can do a loan modification yourself. You don't actually have to pay a company. You just have to be persistent. You have to contact your lender. And you may have to do some legwork, but you can actually obtain a modification yourself without having a company do it for you.
6 people were convicted in this case, and they are awaiting sentencing. As for Edward Harper, when authorities heard his story, he was able to buy back his home and is now in the financial clear. A big election day tomorrow here in the Bluegrass.
The Democratic presidential candidates have been campaigning hard ahead of Kentucky's primary. Bill Bryant has tips for voters in the bottom line.
Good evening. The campaigning in Kentucky is intense, and we are now just over 12 hours away from the polls opening in the Kentucky primary. Kentucky's May primary is often too late to really count, but this year Hillary Clinton has yet to clinch the Democratic nomination, and Bernie Sanders sees Kentucky as a place for another potential upset. This, of course, is ahead of the delegate-rich California primary and the national convention. Clinton is campaigning hard, including several stops yesterday and today, with a Get Out the Vote rally this evening in Lexington at Transylvania University. Yesterday at a Kentucky stop, she said her husband, former President Bill Clinton, would be put in charge of revitalizing the economy if she's elected. Sanders also campaigned in the Commonwealth in person and is on the air with TV ads. He is telling voters that he would be the strongest Democratic nominee in the fall. The polls will be open tomorrow from 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. And Fayette County Clerk Don Blevins says voters need to remember to be prepared when they go to vote. As voters go to the polls on Tuesday, Mr. Blevins, what do they need to bring? What do they need to know as they show up?
All they really need to bring is a driver's license, a credit card with their signature on it, a photo ID with their signature on it, a passport, something to identify themselves so they can get on there, be checked into the roster, and then after that, it's just pretty much vote.
Blevins, who was on Kentucky Newsmakers this weekend, reminds voters the Elections Board of Appeals will be working while the polls are open. Voters with problems can get a quick decision on issues. And the Secretary of State is estimating the likely turnout tomorrow at around 20%. Republicans don't have a presidential primary in Kentucky tomorrow because they held a caucus in March. They have now chosen leadership for the state's delegation to the Republican National Convention. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Governor Matt Bevin will act as co-chairs for Kentucky. McConnell has endorsed Donald Trump as the GOP nominee. Bevin has not made an endorsement yet. Republican National Chairman Reince Priebus is trying to put down talk of a third-party candidate to oppose Trump. Priebus called such an effort a suicide mission and said it would wreck the United States for generations. Again, the Democratic and Republican primaries in Kentucky tomorrow. The polls open at 6 a.m. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
Dozens of people from several different fields came together for the same reason today, solving the state's drug problem.
Bluegrass.org, along with some state officials hosting the forum addressing the opiate epidemic in Kentucky. The group says it's time to get progressive and have each healthcare field work together to try and fix the problem.
Our people are dying. A presenter this morning gave a statistic that 4 people a day are dying from drug overdose in the state. So everybody knows it's really a hot topic, and we got to do something different to make a bigger impact.
The spokesperson for today's summit says Kentucky is one of the worst states in the country when it comes to opium addiction.